drag people through the gates, hopefully over the next decade.
Really good crowd in to start this game. Essendon and the Western Bulldogs. About 40,000 odd on a Sunday afternoon. Hudson with the first use of the ball forward for the Western Bulldogs. Bombers.
Good tackle.
Through that man there, Hardingham, the boy from Cogen up in Western Australia. Now Cooney.
Kick.
A lot have picked him to win the Brownlow this year. Higgins, how important is this player to the Western Bulldogs? We saw that last year when he didn't play a lot. Kicks high, an opportunity. Beautiful mark taken by Grant. And Grant is marked directly in front.
Well, we saw him down at Skill Stadium in the pre-season, Grant, and he just looks like a player that is always going to blossom, has blossomed. Jono, that is a fantastic start and a good piece of play by Cooney as well.
It was. Coons to hit Shawnee Higgins was a great play. Didn't use Hall on the lead, which was maybe a bit of a change. We'll see.
Kicked 29 goals last year. Here he is. There's the angle. None. Directly in front and made it look pretty damn easy as well to the left-hand side for a behind, if you don't mind. Gee. Not a great start for Jared Grant in terms of kicking.
Let's take a look at this Bulldog zone now. Only two blokes back on the centre line. Most others up around the forward 50, about their last line, about 5 or 6 metres back. And there is the response. They want to get it to the wing and across the boundary line at worst.
Good knockdown by Winderlick. Watson wrapped up in the Cooney tackle.
And there's a win for the Bombers. I mean, this is going to be the default position for all clubs. If you can't hit up a target and run it through, kick it long, get it to a boundary line set up, and then let's have a go at a stoppage.
On the bench for the Bulldogs there, you can see Stack, Liberatore, Jakira, young players. Sherman, a substitute there, as we mentioned before. Cross collides with Griffin, both committed to the ball. I reckon a coach would actually like to see that, even though it's hurt one of his players. A clash of heads there, and Griffin's hurt his shoulder as well by the looks, so not a good start. He's going to come straight from the ground. Is Ryan Griffin holding that left shoulder?
AC joint for mine.
That happened 20 metres in front of you, Kingy. Big collision.
Yeah, big collision there, Brian. He's coming straight to the bench. He looks like he's got problems with that left shoulder, the AC joint. I think Jared's right.
Nice mark from Williams. Really showed a lot of poise and a lot of skill.
The shoulder strapped as well there, so we'll get another report from Kingy shortly. Here's Higgins, clever tap on to Grant. Didn't quite get the bounce he was hoping for. Heath Hawkins 1 on 5 there, and the Dogs, look at Liberatore with the hands. That's like the old man, isn't it?
Sure was. Just composure in the contest there from Tom Liberatore. Nice touch.
Dempsey through the middle. Here go the Bombers, using the foot speed. 2 bounces, gets within range, launches a long ball that's offline. Exciting for the Bombers.
They do play an exciting brand of footy. That should have been far better than that, but it was set up by a magnificent handball. We'll take a look at that when we get a chance. In fact, we'll get a chance now. There he is. Arguably the best handball in the game, and he set up what should have been the Bombers' first goal.
Well, they had the kick there, the Western Bulldogs, but in kicking it back into play, they kicked it out of bounds on the full. There's Ryan Griffin recovering somewhat. You can see he already had that shoulder strap. Jono, do you know anything about a previous injury there?
No, I didn't. The last practice game they played, he got through all clear, so he must have tweaked it in training over the last couple of weeks.
There's another look at it. I've noticed that all stoppages, there's only been 2, that Stanton has been able to run free for the Bombers.
Oh, that was Liberatore again with some nice ball use. Gee, he looks very capable, very poised for such a young player, coming straight out of the TAC Cup. Calder Cannons, of course, under Marty Allison down there. Do a great job with the youngsters. There he is, Liberatore.
Callum Ward's minding Stanton, but he's doing it from 4 or 5 metres.
Opportunity now for the Dogs to go forward. A temperate mark by Hardingham has been paid.
Push.
After the kick from Hill. Push it is. Kyle Hardingham gets it off. An opportunity now with Howlett. Start of the day on the bench. Here's the man that just plays forever, Fletcher. Centering ball back to the middle to Hooker. Missed a bit of footy last year as well, Hooker. In fact, they missed a few of their key defenders. Good smothering opportunity here. Once again, the Dogs. Hall from 48 metres out. Barry Hall launches a long shot at goal. Is it there? The Dogs fans like it. It was a brilliant piece of play. And a goal to Barry Hall to open it up for the Western Bulldogs.
Great bit of play by Liam Jones there to get the smother, create the turnover. Bulldogs seem to push back, seem to be zoning a lot more than what they have in the past, certainly standing out at the moment. but to create a turnover there, and Barry Hall was able to capitalise from right on the 50. Dyson Heppel was running back towards goal. He needed to come back it towards Hawley, maybe put a bit more pressure on the kick.
Shouldn't have happened, though. Experienced player. Great work by this young kid. He was so impressive last year in his few games that he has got the potential to be a dominant figure for the Western Bulldogs in the forward 50 for a lot of years to come.
Ryan Griffin back on, so that's good news. An immediate bang into the shoulder just to test it out. Got to be sure you're right when you go back out there these days. Watson, Murphy, good ball. Nice mark taken in the end there by Ward.
2 centre clearances, 2 wins to the Dogs.
Ward go to Hall, 1 out. Hall and Hooker. Off hands, opportunity out of this for Stack. Runs into an open goal, kicked it around the corner. And he has got it. Jakira it is. So the Bulldogs open with consecutive goals in a matter of a minute.
Well, that one was just way too easy going into their forward line. Ryder got the tap, went nowhere. And the Bulldogs just forced the ball forward. And Jakira was recruited for his pace and recruited for his nous around the goals. Well, this is a win. Comes in with Callum Ward, looking for Barry Hall. All he has to do is make a contest. When you've got some support around you, that is all you have to do as a forward. You don't have to kick 100 goals as long as you are creating goals when you're not kicking them.
So Jakira, of course, coming from the Cats, just managed the 4 games down there. And a welcome addition here, as Gerard says, to give them some more pace. Hudson in the middle. Wallace is circling again. He's able to get the clearance. Wallace, clever tap on from Grant. Ross tried to back out, wasn't there. An opportunity here for Jetta. Murphy dashes away, ran out of tarmac. See Higgins come on there. Murphy rotating the bench. We see Collingwood yesterday down about 30 on their normal interchange.
And Ben Hudson doing a really good job nullifying the leap of Paddy Ryder and the centre bouncers so far. They haven't taken one forward yet, the Bombers.
Gone with the one ruckman, Gerard. We heard Rodney Eade say that in the pre-game. Yep. Is that the way modern teams are going to go with the substitute rule?
I think if you haven't got a dominant second division ruckman, they're going to probably pave the way for somebody a little bit more of a utility.
So Cox and Matt Newey probably good together, but they're both capable, aren't they? There's Griffin back on, looks okay. High ball, Flyers, no winner in the air. Off hands, Heppel. Able to advance the ball. Forward the first gamer over the back, 2-on-1 for the Bombers. Nice shepherd out of the way. Premieri allowed Watson to run under the ball and kick the goal. Bombers get there first. Well done, Premieri.
That's the way of footy these days, isn't it, Gerard? And the fact that the ball gets kicked in long, and it's basically the forwards that can get to the crumb and create that contest at the drop of the ball. Well,
Watson was given a free ticket here. Look at this. His man just lays off. He wants to spoil the ball. You see Watson stays down. There's his man floating through. Easton Wood. Joe Watson, well, he was never going to go across the front of the pack and kick the goal, but Easton Wood, he rolled the dice and he came up a loser.
No, I think that's what Easton's got to try and do a little bit more of, though. He's got to continue to roll the dice.
If he does, though, he's got to hit it.
He's got to hit it, though. He's got to have an impact in the contest.
Let's go down to David King.
Gee, they just look tougher in and tight, the Bulldogs here at the clearance situations, boys. Young Liberatore having a real go in there, but when it spreads, they're too quick, the Bombers.
David King on the boundary. There's Cross absorbing the punishment, even though he got the ball away. Zaha Rakas to Hill. Hill quickly out of the middle. Watson's there. Got his man under the ball nicely. Solid defence. Hill was able to just tidy up as the last line has a bit of a sweeper for the Dogs. There's the classy Higgins. And that's why. Gee, didn't have the hands to take it the way he should have, Liam Jones. Nevertheless, an opportunity. Lonigan to McVeigh. Lonigan again. Here's Higgins.
Good game of footy so far, this one. Lots of good skills. A few drop marks because of the pressure, but the tackling ferocious.
Roof open at Etihad on a Sunday afternoon. It's great. Here's Grant, his second mark of the game. He's going to kick it in front of Hall. It wasn't out in front enough. In fact, it was kicked to the advantage of the defender, Hooker. Needed to be in front to draw Hall to the ball. There's Leroy Jetta. Just love watching this guy play. High ball, a lot to like about these both sides. Here's another one of those. Ryder went hard and firm. Gotta love that. Premieri around the corner advances 25.
One player that's going to have a tough day of it out there is Angus Monfries. They've obviously identified with him that he's a key player for the Bombers. Liam Picken is picking him up at the moment.
Markovic, the first gamer, running into Ryder at full speed.
Good jump. It was a big win there by Paddy Ryder. That was a 2-on-5 situation when Leroy Jetta kicked that ball, and Ryder made good.
He certainly did. Tom Williams going to the ruck now for the Bulldogs, obviously, while Ben Hudson has a rest on the interchange.
His body language, Ryder, just looks up and about, just looks ready to play, looks ready, committed to do anything he needs to do. Stanton.
Extra man in defence.
Yep, 3-on-2. That extra man is the sweeper Hill. Grant got nudged under the ball, and Stanton, clever as usual, can go wide to Melksham. Another one out of the Calder Cannons outfit. Melksham to Monfries. Did he get dealt with unfairly? Umpire said no. Throw it in.
Some late work after the spoil there from Liam Picken.
Knocked down by Williams. Griffin set the task. Cooney. High ball. And almost a good mark to hooker. Hocking. Dempsey had to go, but I tell you who was more committed. Ward, who was really solid. Melksham around the corner. The punch away positive. Hills there front and centre though. Can go over the top. Bombers with plenty of life. The left foot of Hocking is valuable. And watching the target.
Josh Hill's working it quite well down in defence at the moment. As the sweep, he's having an impact. He's not just sitting back in the hole waiting for things to unfold so he can be released. He's actually trying to intercept along the way.
So it means that the Bombers have got an extra man up around the contest. They've just got to use him a little bit more and understand that there is that sweeper down there and not keep kicking it to an outnumbered contest.
McVeigh got one high. Umpire said no. And did he then try and make an attempt? The umpire said no. McVeigh gets up wondering.
Fast footy from both sides. They're not mucking around. They want to get the ball on almost every time.
Markovic, the first gamer. With a high ball. Let's have a look at that last contest and see whether McVeigh deserved anything here. First of all, for the high tackle. Now it's debatable. And then, of course, made no effort. Pretty hard to make an effort in amongst that, by the way.
I think the umpires are just going to be desperate to see a bit of hand movement, whatever it is.
Yep.
Just got to somehow get a flailing arm going.
See Griffin come off again. I think this is just part of the rotation now, so I don't think there's anything to be concerned about there for Bulldog fans. Heath Hocking again drives it inside 50. Winderlick was good. Watson's hands a little heavy for Zaharakis. Able to chase it down. Squaring ball is really good.
Great kick.
Crameri has taken the mark. 20 metres out.
One of the big challenges for James Hird and Essendon was to find another role for Joe Watson. You can't go through any season with one bloke through the middle so reliant for you getting the stoppages. They've pushed him forward, and I think it's a really good move. He played as a centre-half forward at times throughout his junior career, and he can play a deep forward because he's so creative.
Crameri lines up for goal and kicks it. He likes his work. And the Bombers get their second of the game, 2 straight. Dogs lead it by 1 point.
Bombers have just settled, haven't they, Jerry? They were a bit edgy at the start of the game, obviously wanting to get things going a bit quicker than what they could. And the Bulldogs got the advantage of that. Now they've settled, kicked the last couple, and look well and truly right in this contest. 11 tackles to 5 at the moment, which shows their pressure.
They've kicked 2 goals, the Bulldogs. Watson's been responsible for both of them.
And we're told Crameri is the correct pronunciation, Jared, direct from his mother. So I guess we better go with it. Couple of goals for the Bombers after the Dogs started with the consecutive goals. Absolutely magnificent day in Melbourne today. Ryder, the elevation, purposeful. Boyd, cross, fast hands. Cooney loves this situation. Monfries got him just a little high. And the advantage rule going back there, keeping in mind it is the players who determine the advantage this year, as distinct from last year where it was the umpires. Here's Tom Liberatore. The left foot to Hall. Once again, Hall was able to outmaneuver hooker then, but The ball wasn't kicked in quite the right spot for him.
Yeah, hand in the back, though. It was a tough call, but it was a right call.
But that free kick is created by the ball not being quite kicked into the pocket. See Hall out in front there, had to go back. Hooker. Cross involved, chain of handballs. Ward, now Hudson. A sloppy one, wasn't it?
Good numbers here.
Cramery. Handball in hope. Monfries with some work to do. Players converge in hard as Markovic.
Can only be impressed with the start of Tom Liberatore. 6 disposals already, 4 of those contested.
Is he big liver, given his dad was little liver?
Oh, he's big liver, but
he is big.
He's actually got good size for an 18-year-old.
He's got dad covered by a fair way, has Tom Liberatore.
Kingy, a couple of notable changes. Barry Hall off, Watson on.
Can't quite get Kingy down there at the moment. Hudson, Ryder. An opportunity here, lots of Dogs around the stoppage. Well done in the end here for the Dogs, just to relieve pressure momentarily. The umpire said deliberately against Callum Ward that he had no other intention but go to the boundary. What do you think, boys?
Oh, look, he deliberately did kick it towards the boundary, but he had really no other option but got the ping for it.
It was contentious, that one.
Was, because it was in heavy traffic. Here's Howlett. Musling kicked it out of bounds on the full.
We were told that, I suppose, in the lead up to the season from the umpires department, that if it's clearly going towards the boundary line with no one in front of it, yeah, but it'll get pinged.
It passed. I thought it did have players in front of it. I thought it passed 2 or 3 players in flight.
David King is a welcome addition to Fox Sports on the boundary. Kingy, your thoughts on Jobe Watson playing forward?
Yeah, I don't mind it, Jared. They're attacking wide when they go inside the forward 50 at the moment, the Bombers, and he's been good at the crumb situations in the contests.
McVeigh, another good kick, and he finds Lonigan on the lead. Now Lonigan will test his distance capabilities here. Directly in front, no angle. It's all about distance for Sam Lonigan. Kick on the way, just off to the right-hand side.
We spoke about the clearances before the game, and the Bombers have started to take the ascendancy in that area. That one there, the shot from Lonigan was created by winning a stoppage.
Taking the ascendancy full stop for mine, Jono. They just look pretty impressive at the present time, and well, it's only 1 quarter into this match, but I think most of us went away from Friday night's match wondering where the game was heading. 30 minutes here, and you probably fears have been allayed. This has been really exciting stuff.
Ward's got a free here at half-back.
All up, boys. He's about to come back on, Big Barry.
Okay. Opportunity here for the run of Murphy. The dash, the kick is fantastic in front of Grant. Hooker had no chance of stopping that. Really impressive stuff. The handball comes off here. And the Bulldogs get another one. Absolutely fantastic run by Wood. Easton Wood has nailed a goal for the Dogs, their 3rd.
Well, that is classic Western Bulldogs. As far as the way Rodney wants them to play, this would be one of the highlights I think he would be able to show. Half-back flank coming off the ground, running up to support. Grant owed them one from an early miss that should never have gone to the left of the post, but he set that one up really nicely. It was a good piece of work by the king of the half-back line and Robert Murphy. And the disposal was superb. Straight through the middle of the ground, and the finish spot on.
Easton Wood, full of run. And as Jared said, the finish very nice indeed. New hairdo there for Easton. Strong athletic player. Ryder in the middle. The clearance by Liberatore. Yet again, goes long and deep for Barry Hall, who's taken a mark, out manoeuvring this time Hooker.
Another clearance to Libber. He's had 4 so far. He's having a terrific debut. Just having a look at Easton Wood again. He's lined up on Windelich, who is yet to trouble the scorers. He's had 1 handball. And there's Libber again, just banging it forward. And that was a side push, as against one earlier, which was on in the back.
Here is Hall, directly in front, and he converts the goal. Got their 4th, the Dogs.
Hooker's positioning hasn't been too bad. He's actually playing in front and trying to take the initiative in the contest against Barry Hall. But that time, Barry's strength just showed out and he was able to take a mark. But if I was Hooker, I'd keep trying that. Keep playing in front, keep trying to take the advantage over the Bulldogs' key forward.
Clearance there from Libba.
We've got to sort out Libba. He looks like he's taking care of Watson at stoppages. And at the moment, he's having a fantastic start.
He is good use of the left foot. And Barry Hall is going to benefit from those centre clearances. Already heard the boys say that with the way footy's played these days, there will be a lot more of that long ball forward to just the big boy contest down there.
Boyd's gone to Watson on this occasion.
Hudson.
Howler with Libba.
Yet another clearance. Myers, Hocking, Via Heppel, now Stanton. Just a little chip at a Hill who presents nicely. Hill had the short one on offer, but went the Monfries option. Wood was there. Jenner in front. Tapped. Clever along the ground. Missed.
Once again, the Bulldogs should have made better of that effort in the air. Jeddah nearly took the advantage of that. But the thing with the Bombers then, they're all back leading. Once Hill got the ball, they're all leading backwards. Someone's got to start coming at the kicker.
Picken. Looking for their Jones. In the end, Stack was able to, Jakira was able to move the ball forward. The opposition Dempsey, switch of play is dangerous, but precision-like to Stanton. He saw Zaharakis over the top, but couldn't get the ball there. Now the Dogs will go in the direction of Gian Siracusa. Dempsey able to get back and tidy it up. Hooker. And now Howlett. The Bombers prepared to switch the play. It ends with Melksham. And gone to Lonigan. Elects to go down the line with a nice looking ball to Winderlick. Winderlick kept it alive for Hardingham, who ran out of area to control the ball.
I think the Bombers would be happy to see the ball go out of play a fair bit. They've actually taken the advantage out of these boundary throw-ins early in the game, and we'll see if they can do it again here.
Hill in front. Lonigan, Melksham. Long ball, Picken trying hard, did well to get back that occasion. Markovic and stop the Bomber mark. Hawkins on his wrong side though. Gives off to Jeddah in the pocket. What does he do? Got it to Hill. Has he got a left foot? Brilliant smother by the Dogs. Now Wood.
Good numbers. Good numbers for the Dogs.
Around the ball, really good numbers. Jakira was involved.
Going to have the quick outlet player. There he is.
Look at the players running past. Look at the clean hands of Cooney. Outstanding. The kick to Jones. Dropped the mark he probably should have taken. Now called in the Melksham tackle. And the Dogs messed that one up.
Yeah, I think Cooney had to go straight down the corridor. He had Jared Grant leading to the square. Jono, he elected to go wide. Kick wasn't perfect, but it just slowed everything down, and that's the start of it. It went straight down the ground. He finished up with a nice effort there by the Bombers.
Should have extended the arm there, Jones. The arms to mark that ball. Tried to mark it on the chest. There's Jeddah. Sat on his backside by Markovic.
They doing that one.
Got some strength, the young player Markovic, hasn't he? He's prepared to mix it up physically.
He is. He does all his training with Brian Lake.
Look at that.
That's the one you're talking about, BT.
Ryder with the jukes out in front, Gerard. That's how you do it. That's how you stop the defender punching the ball away. Paddy Ryder on the boundary. Sends it to the top of the square. Lining it up is Hurley. Both hands on it. And the minor score. Have a look at this. This is what I'm talking about, Brad. Arms extended, gives the defender no chance.
Absolutely none whatsoever, and that's what Liam Jones didn't do earlier on, and ball goes down the other end.
Interesting just looking at the stats. We'll bring David King in shortly, but both clubs are having 2 kicks to every handball.
So that's gone back in favour of kicking.
That's gone back 20 years.
Yeah. Very interesting. And I think that's been in just about every game played so far this weekend, Gerard, as well, not just here. So it does seem a trait. There's Watson. Look at that. A withering kick down the throat of Winderlick.
Well, he's been well held. In fact, I thought they may have pushed him up the ground, but...
Handball off to McVeigh. McVeigh with a long left foot. Flying high for the ball was Clamery. Got his own crumb, and a free kick will go the way of Monfries for a hold.
Long and direct. Not sure the value in the handball to McVeigh. If he couldn't make the distance, I think Windler probably should have gone back and had the kick.
Monfries, a certain conversion. Hammers it up into the stand, made the goal umpire work, I might add, but a much needed one for the Bombers. They draw it in 4 points.
Yeah, as we have a look at here, he just gets held there by Liam Pickens, just gets dragged off the contest, and look, probably didn't need to do that, Pickers. He had Monfries probably pretty much in control there, Jared, to create just a normal spoil.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was a darn good effort of acting by Monfries. I reckon he might have sucked the umpire in there to a degree.
Traits of a good forward, being able to suck the umpire in.
Jared, you talk about the kicking use down here by both clubs. I've been surprised by the quality of use by the Bombers at this stage. They're normally known for their overlap run out of the back half, but their ball use has been precise today.
It has been superb, and I know everybody has to put in their top 8. Having a look at some of the games, it's going to be tight for those 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th positions. There are some quality sides around.
Good look at the down the ground view from our Fox Sports cameras there as well. Hocking with the ultimate clearance there, and on the head of Monfries, getting a lot of ball just hoiked into the forward line. And that's exciting for a big forward because it's going to bring them back into the game. Dempsey, did he keep it in play? No.
We spoke about the defenders of the Bulldogs having their work cut out for them. Bombers have already gone inside 50 15 times to 8 in this game. So the Bulldogs are going to have to do a fair bit of work to try and restrict Essendon's midfield pumping the ball in.
Bill gets in front of Williams. As Rodney Eade pointed out, Williams will do a bit of the ruck work to help out Hudson. There's a throw there against Clamery.
What about the start from Liberatore? 7 possessions.
Unbelievable.
4 clearances. He's been, if you had to give out votes for BOG right now, he'd be on the podium.
It's an electric start from him, Jared. A very mature start for Tom Liberatore. Has been good with the ball as well and using it. Knock to the head there of Ward, so you'll get a free for that.
Popular decision right in front of the basically the members for Essendon here.
Almost looks like they've just said to Barry Hall, just stay there, we're going to put it on your head. Don't lead too much too often if it's not really obvious. Here's Melksham, Heppel, Dempsey. Again to Heppel, Boyd with a good smother. Under a cover though, the Bombers. Melksham impressive. Kick was really good to Hurley. Got a hand there, Griffin, though. Stanton under pressure, Howard. Turning ability was great.
Oh, used the elbow as the buffer got away with it.
Player took the advantage. Crowd screamed for a free, but that's the player's option. Here's Cooney, Ward. What the player has to do in this advantage situation, Jerris, they just have to signal to the umpire somehow, don't they?
Well, that was a tough one because it was such a short time lapse between the whistle and, of course, knowing you have to do something. He was under extreme pressure, and I think if he had his time, he would have said, OK, umpire, we'll take a free kick.
The umpires have been told that for the player just to put up his hand if he's not going to take the advantage. Sometimes, like in that situation, it's almost not possible. But that'll be a rare exception, I would expect. Been a hectic pace from one end to the other in this first quarter, with the result just being 4 points in favour of the Dogs.
Bulldogs going one-on-one, except Ben Hudson, who was just looking for the long kick.
Well, Barry Hall dealt with Jeddah, and the umpire just warns Barry, just be careful. In other words, he interprets it as legal. Clamery was the beneficiary of the Jeddah kick, and Jeddah now in the hands of the trainers. There you can see, and he'll come and just have a very quick spell, I would have thought. You can see Barry Hall here. It was late, but
really good work by Cale Hooker there. Came up, pushed Barry, got out of there as quickly as possible.
Dustin Fletcher the same.
Still made a small point.
And Barry putting his hands up immediately, he'd made contact, assuming guilt. Here's Hardingham. Fletcher. Howlett too small in the aerial contest with Griffin.
So, Jono, given your knowledge of the Dogs, are we going into ball control here, given that the clock is just a minute or so to go, or are they still trying to score?
No, they'll be going into ball control now. They got that one out of play, and they'll just be looking to set this up. Hudson will keep it in tight now with the stoppage, and you'll have Boyd, you'll have Higgins, you'll have Cooney in around the contest, just keeping it in.
Hudson just trying to work it forward, as Brad Johnson alluded to. Now Jetta. It's some good numbers at the front of the contest in the Bombers. Oh! Magnificent fly over the top. Look at the recovery to play on. The kick, no, so good, but fortunate was Zaharakis.
Well, they tried the Ruckman you were calling for, Jono, but they left one man, Jetta, free, and it exposed the Bombers to kick another goal just before.
Have a look at the grab, Jared.
Oh, it's an absolute ripper.
Oh, great grab.
That's 110 kilos coming over the top. Zaharakis comes in and misses.
Peter, you're asked whether the substitute rule could well determine the future of Ruckman. If you've got two beauties like Hill and Ryder, well, they're going to be in the top group. And that's going to be the challenge for all second Ruckman, to make sure that they produce performances that demand that they be picked, like Hill.
Yep. Running out of time here at the moment. It's a good point you make, Jared.
And they got another one, Bell Chambers, unlucky to miss out.
Been in good form, hasn't he? Siren sounds here. A little bit of a scuffle right on the boundary as Big Hutto comes in and says, step aside, boys, I'm the big boy. Interesting quarter of football, entertaining, had everything. Pace, skill, aerials, tackling, confrontation. And this man here, James Hurd's involved as well. A 3-point advantage with the Dogs at quarter time.
Both sides have been able to capitalise by doing that.
Still think the concern for the Dogs is they've got 2 of their 4 goals from centre clearance dominance. They've got to find another way into that forward line.
There's a free to Hill for a hold. Not enough avenues for you at the moment, Jared.
No, they're just not getting the ball out of the Bomber forward line. They've just been able to get it in there and control it. Sure, on the fast break, they've kicked a couple.
Here's the big bomb. There it is. That's exactly what we're talking about. Josh Hill, a handball in haste, a little early. Look at the Jetta handball. How good was that? Magnificent. Make no mistake, it set up this opportunity for Zaharakis. Deep on the boundary, David Zaharakis.
He's looking to centre it up at the minute, but I'm not sure. Everything seems to be closed up. Maybe that was just a pretend look, BT, so he could have a shot at goal.
I saw one lead that was rejected. There wasn't a lot else on offer. So Zaharakis goes back, and I was intrigued by that because I thought the Bombers might have continued to supply options for him. In the end, he was forced to kick at goal from an impossible position. Good look at the zone there that the Bombers are implementing. Kick out wide to Williams, who just advanced it along the ground nicely. Did well cross. Over the top they go. Here's Gian Syracuse with a nifty one around the corner to Cooney. They're out now. The Dogs go long to Hall. Another big bomb. Hall got back. Higgins couldn't control it. There's an example. Teams are prepared to kick not just to the lead, but to the contest.
And the Bulldogs with that were trying to outnumber Essendon on one side. They had 3 or 4 forwards focused to one side of the ground. Obviously a set play that they've been working on to try and combat getting through the zones.
Hill did well, got it back off Lonergan. Immediately sends it out wide just for a bit of a safety. Hudson, fast, Murphy, and Cross. Griffin! Good aerialist. 60 metres out. Gian Syracuse has got the position here. Almost took the mark, Higgins.
Barry Hall frustrated. I mean, he's gone for a 1 in 100 kick, and it's gone nowhere in reality. Barry Hall was leading to space. David Hill was down there blocking up the left-hand side. He had to go to the fat side of the ground.
See if the Dogs can keep it inside their forward half of the ground for any time. Fletcher threads the needle to Zaharakis. Now if the Bombers want to go, they can to Heppel. He'll take the mark. Not much offering downfield, although Winderlich presented. And now he just tried to pop it on his head, and Murphy in the meantime to take on the front position. Jakira, Hudson and Picken. Picken with a little poker to Cooney, should have taken the mark. Now Jakira, fumble at the crucial moment. Cooney, exquisite skill to get it through there. Hill, intelligent knock on to Grant. The handball use is impressive indeed. Here's Griffin on his non-preferred left side, around the corner, bending, missed.
Maybe could have handballed over the top there to Callum Ward to run in for a easy shot at goal, but Griff took it on. Great play.
Melksham to Hurley. 2-on-1. Cramery.
Oh, look at this.
Inside to Hurley to Ryder. Can Picken do anything about this? I don't think so. Here goes Paddy into the open goal. Dangerous. Picken and Ryder get up and collide as the umpire signals all clear, but in the meantime, there's a bit going on off the ball.
Well, there should be a bit going on in the bench or the box for the Dogs, because this is just classic fast break footy.
How quickly he can turn.
Yep. Should have got a goal the other end. Handball had to go over the top. I think you're being kind to Griffin. But this one here, it was just great stuff. We saw this in the pre-match, the ability of Paddy Ryder to run the lines when he's in the ruck, or even get up the ground if he's at the forward line and be involved, is quite superb. But it was an impressive fight back, that one, Kingy.
It was, and it was great work out on the wing here by Hurley, just to make the initial contest and cause the overlap runners to get through him, and Premier did it very well.
Bombers in front for the first time today. Out of the middle. See how the Dogs go here. Going to be awarded the clearance probably on that Hudson kick. Here's Boyd. Ward, a real scrap up, brings Heppel with him. Get some thoughts shortly from David King on the respective forward setups at each end of the ground, and to see what you think, Kingy, on who's doing what there. Here's Lonigan. Williams, a tough ball at his feet. Cramery, who's looked impressive in this game, loves the contact. Here's Stack. Higgins behind, had better judgment than Hardingham on that occasion.
Good hands.
Beautiful hands in front of Gian Siracusa. A clean pick-up and a goal. The responder from the Dogs.
Great composure by Brendan Stack in the middle of the ground here. Could have blazed away because of Tom Williams' fumble. Was able to get the ball back into the middle of the ground. And then Shawnee Higgins, great composure as well on the back of a bit of a fumble. And great handball out to Gian Siracusa, who kicks a nice goal.
I thought Tom Williams showed terrific poise. He was first to the ball. It was a quick kick in, and he was about 4 metres in front of Pat Ryder. And that's what stopped the momentum going forward for the Bulldogs. This was just all class. Didn't absolutely hit the target, but he had an excuse. He was under severe pressure. Gian Siracusa probably could have stretched to take it.
David King, your thoughts on the respective forward ends?
A lot of space in behind the Bombers end, boys. You can see Hurley and Ryder push right up the ground and leave that open forward 50. A lot of space to run back into to score.
Okay, ball up in the middle. This time Hocking tries to extract it, and he does successfully when all others have given up hope, I reckon. Here's Ryder against Williams. Zaharakis on the run. Can't get him stacked. Quick answer from the Bombers. Zaharakis.
Just the centre clearance there, Jared. That's the importance of the centre clearance. David Hill was able to butter up after the tap and just got a quick kick forward. There was nothing special about the kick, just the fact that he put in the spot, the ball hit the deck, and once it does, it puts the defenders under a lot of pressure. And great handball by Ryder to set up Zaharakis for a very nice goal.
It was a good handball because he was sort of past him, wasn't he?
Yep.
Normally you would sort of wait for another oncoming player, but took the gamble and found him.
That time it was Williams second of the ball and Paddy Ryder in front. It's amazing the difference in the result.
Good contest. Really good contest. 3-point lead now back with the Bombers. Hill over the top. Ward, did he get one high? Yes, he got one in the back to the umpire, which was doubtful.
Very.
Maybe the high one early. Got a bit of a gollywog hair approach these days, Kellen Ward. Aerodynamically, not great. Jakira's looked impressive. Stack. Cross the mauler. Got one high, and the advantage paid here to Heppel out wide. You can just hear the Bombers fans when there's a bit of space. The long ball into Wendelek, was it, or Hurley? It was Hurley.
The only question is, how did he get rid of him? Umpire said it was legal. And this is, Jono, for mine, the issue that the Bombers have got over you at the present time, or over the Bulldogs, and that's inexperience in defence and just muscled out there by a younger player.
The difference at the moment is the clean ball, the Bombers are getting about 70 out from goal, allowing that kick with no pressure to go over the top.
Michael Hurley, 30 metres out, just a little bit of angle, and he just nursed that through nicely. So another one for the Bombers. They extend the margin to 9 points, their biggest lead.
Just opened up a little bit here now for the Bombers. A couple of forward transitions that haven't had the same sort of pressure. David King on the boundary, a couple of changes.
Yeah, a couple of changes happening at the moment, Jared. And I think that space in behind the Bulldogs' defence is really causing them concerns. You saw then when Heppel gained possession by the advantage on the wing, the charge of the Light Brigade back to goal. It was one-on-one. Hurley was too good in the end, but I think they need to adopt a loose man in the back line, the Bulldogs, just to take that space off the Bomber forward line. And
they did that at the start of the game. In the first quarter, Josh Hill was the floater that was down there, creating a bit of run, but not only that, having an impact in the contest with the spoil. So I think they need to do that. Himself, Josh Hill or Daniel Cross need to get back into defence.
You're right, John. Goals, all Bomber goals are coming over the top at the moment. Hill was that last man sweeper in the first quarter. There's Grant. There is the man we speak of. Hill looks very comfortable when he gets the ball. Backing back here, an opportunity for the big boys. Could not get it done, Jones. In the air. Was there an attempt by Griffin? Umpire said we'll ball it up.
Jones going back there looking for the fight. I think he needs to come at the kicker more often. He can back lead a bit too much.
Heppel been prominent. Fortunate kick. Present up, down the safety of the boundary line. Not dissimilar to the way Collingwood like to play until they get it to the half-forward line. Now Hurley still hugs the boundary to Ryder. Lonigan was under his feet, literally. Hocking to McVeigh. McVeigh back to Hocking. This time the run was thwarted by the Dogs.
But they had pushed everybody up, and it was an empty forward 50. Good defensive running by Cooney. He was the one who turned it around. 9 points down the Western Bulldogs, but I think the scoreline probably giving us a distorted picture. The Bombers well on top at the moment.
Been cracking in both these sides, and that sort of situation that you just saw on your screens then. Eventually a free will go the Bombers' way. Watson. So he just copped a high contact from Gian Siracusa there. Fair enough, good call. Look at the lead, and the kick was magnificent, and Ryder's on the end of it. Waste no time, Ryder. He's going to pop this up high and hope that Monfries or Hill can do something. They were outmanoeuvred by their Dog opponents.
Joe Watson's use of the ball at the moment has been outstanding.
And he's not renowned for his foot use, is he?
No, he's not, and that's the thing. He's renowned for getting in and under, but I suppose if he's going to play more up forward, he has to certainly work on that side of his game, and he must have done that over the summer because it's working for him.
Here's Hocking. He's got a left foot, remember, and that's the side he's on. Getting back his cross.
He's just come for a rest, Joe, boys. He looks like he's earning his keep out there today. He's earned this one.
Bit wide is to a host of Bombers. Zahra Rakus able to tidy it up, although missed. McVeigh with the handball, picked up by Stanton, who launches from 55. Ryder's in front. Ryder did well to hold the pack back and take the mark. He'll look to play on here.
Should just go back and kick the goal. They got some concerns here, the Bulldogs, David. They right under the pump at the moment.
They are. They're marking this ball far too regularly when they go inside their forward 50, certainly in this quarter.
Now he's setting up for the Jared Roughhead approach here, facing the centre of the ground. One step around and kick. I think that is the way to go about it. Ryder agrees and made it work. That is such great composure from Paddy Ryder.
Perfect technique by Ryder, and as he comes off the ground, look, I know with the rotations you've got to come off and have a rest, but the guy is on fire at the moment. He's in everything. He's creating contest. He's marking things. The ball that goes forward, the high ball. He's dishing off to his teammates. I've got to keep him down there for a couple more minutes. He's not working in the ruck. Keep him in the goal squares and bury in the square.
But it's about the big picture, Jono. It's not about now. It's about the whole game and the whole season.
It is, but the ascendancy they've got at the moment in this game is huge. So therefore, keep him out there for that extra few minutes.
It'll be a good headline tomorrow, BT. Johnson criticises Hurd.
Yeah, and doubts all sports science experts. The Bombers are away here, Jared. You've picked it, and you're on top with the run because they now lead by 15 points. Here's Lonigan. He's a scrapper in and under there.
I think if we get a stoppage here, we'll see that Jono's the one on top of it. They've gone the extra man in defence. As we speak, they have to stem the tide and turn this around a bit. There's an injury behind play for the Bombers.
And some free ball coming forward for the Bombers again. This one out in front of Cramery. Got good hands, hasn't he?
Morris is a spare.
High ball. Hurley pointed to the boundary where he wanted the ball, but obviously didn't want it there.
Morris is the spare, but I tend to bring a forward up or a winger back. Dale needs to go with his direct opponent. Oh, massive grab.
Over the top with a ripping ride on Cramery. And Grant has been electric in the air with a couple of leaps. Fletcher now, defensive punch away. Melksham, Cooney and Griffin. Some good names there, Griffin. Spinning away with the ball. Keppel. Myers.
Good pressure from Jones.
Zaharakis. Here's a low ball at the Monfries. Hill did well. Attacked it, took the risk in the air. Ball smothered off the stack boot. McVeigh, Ryder, Lonigan, Jeddah. 45 metres, went the low finish. And missed.
Well, they've got some thinking to do here, the Bulldogs. They are getting absolutely caned through the middle of the ground. Maybe it's time to bring Sean Higgins up, maybe a couple of others. There's the injury, top left.
To Howlett, yep.
But they are threatening to blow this game or break this game right open prior to half-time.
Here's Ryder. It's going to come back again. They've kicked 4 of the 5 goals in this quarter. Does Howlett look all right? David King down there at boundary.
He's gone down, boys, into the dugout. He looked a bit sore on the left leg, maybe a thigh issue.
So that substitute we're seeing on screen now, Nathan Lovett-Murray, obviously preparing in case of the worst.
Well, he's been doing nothing so far, Brian. They need to get something out of him in the second half, at least.
It is amazing. I haven't seen the substitutes warm up a lot in the game. It's almost as if they think they're going to come on in the last quarter, but they could be used at any moment. Nathan Lovett-Murray, he is the green-vested substitute. Sounds a bit like a bird, doesn't it? And the sub on the other hand there for the Western Bulldogs is Justin Sherman. Monfries gets the free. Around the corner, ball a little high for Cramery, but he used his body well to gain the right position. Jeddah was coming through at speed as well. Impressed with him today. What do you think, Jono, Jeddah?
Jeddah's been very, very good. The thing with him, it seems like his work rate's increased from last year. His endurance seems to have lifted under what has been one of the toughest pre-season the Essendon players have encountered in a long time. And he gets up the ground, he's able to work hard back.
Yeah, I agree totally with that. There's Cooney, he's got the run of Hill, draws the player. Hill just retreats and gives Murphy a bit of extra time sighting the ball. Liberatore wasn't paid the mark. I think he relaxed thinking he had it, and the defender swatted it away. Tom Liberatore. Gee, unlucky not to be paid that mark. I thought he owned it there for a minute. Heppel. Ball bearing down. The dash from Hardingham. McVeigh with the low opportunity. Murphy has an unbelievable ability to zigzag and turn.
Essendon just making the contest at the moment, putting the Bulldogs under a bit of pressure, making them kick the ball a little bit higher than they normally would like, giving themselves an opportunity to create a spoil at every opportunity.
The Bomber fans loving their team at the moment.
Oh, they're up.
She's the ovation at half-time. Could be one we haven't seen for a while. But what
for the players or James Hird.
What the Bombers have done is they've shut down first game at Tom Liberatore. He was a dominant feature in the first quarter, hasn't touched it in the second.
Yep. Here's Hurley.
And no one's replaced him.
Winderlick. Watson, I think it was. The skipper nails it for the Bombers.
The half-time can't come quick enough for the Western Bulldogs. They are getting flogged at the present time, Jono. That's, what is it now, 5-2 to 1-1 in this quarter. And they have just got to find a way to win some of the contested ball. And time inside forward 50, if we had the stat, we'll get it for you at half-time, would be, it's almost a one-sided affair at the moment.
It's the forward momentum, it's the surge from the Bombers at the moment, especially out of the contest, boundary throw-ins, ball-ups around the ground that's causing the Bulldogs some headaches at the moment. They've tried dropping a number back. That's not working at the moment. They've got 8 minutes now to try and consolidate in this quarter and not let it open up as much as what it is at the moment.
Rodney Eade talking to his team in the box. Let's go down to David King.
They've had the last 9 inside 50s, the Bombers. They're absolutely all over them here. The game being played in their forward half, and they seem to have more space in their forward line. Good functionality at the moment.
And still 9 minutes to go on the clock as well. So there's still plenty of damage to be done in this game from the Bombers just yet. Hocking to Jetta. Cramery. Morris couldn't lay the tackle. Bombers go high again. Cross will get underneath this. Picken. It's Ward. Good look at the play down the field for Ward. High ball on the head of Liam Jones. And Kyle Hardingham there.
It's a handball receives at the moment. 61 to the Bombers, 44 to the Bulldogs. Just working strong off half-back. And also tackles, 32-21. Just not enough tackling and pressure around the ball from the Bulldogs at the moment.
Did you see the space Melksham? They gave Melksham facing his own goal then. It's just didn't quite get to him. If it did, he was away. There's Watson. Numbers one in to the forward end. Paddy Ryder able to slip his opponent there, Markovic, but Markovic was equal to the task when needed. He does look incredibly dangerous, Paddy.
I don't think they don't know what to do with Paddy Ryder at the moment. They just seem to be trying everything, competing, but he's just on fire out there at the moment.
Well, the biggest issue comes back to selection. They went in without 3 of their best rebounders. Hargrave's not there, Gilby's not there, and the gun full back is not there. So they've got some kids down there. The ball's coming in way too easy at the present time, which is an issue for their midfield. But they're not getting the same rebound that generally sets up a lot of the Bulldogs' goals.
Punch away from Hall. Look at the Bombers swarming. Hardingham with a kick that really should have been presented. Lace out to McVeigh. Melksham around the corner. That's great vision from Melksham to spot up and find Stanton. Gee, that was great poise under pressure.
Great vision from Melksham, and you said it, it's the amount of ball going in forward at the moment. Inside 50's 31-15.
It's a one-sided affair.
It certainly is.
The game's looking over halfway through the second quarter, which is ridiculous given how much talent that they have got out there. We're expecting the Bulldogs to fight back.
It's never, ever over, Gerard. Stanton comes in and makes it that much harder.
Especially with the Bulldogs, it's never over.
I'm expecting the Dogs to turn into a goal-scoring machine in the second half. With advice from Rodney. 96-60, Dogs 5-2-32. I picked your point about how long has it been in the Essendon forward end of the ground, Gerard? I reckon of the 22 minutes we've played so far, I would think it's been at their forward end for 17 or 18 minutes.
Well, I think the entries in there have been fleeting. And it's going to be difficult now because they essentially just have to hold back the tide at the present time. Now, whether or not you do that by putting extra men around the ball or whether you put them into defence is a debatable point. I suspect getting them around the ball, but they're starting this bounce with 6 forwards, the Dogs, so they're just backing their midfield to respond.
Boyd does that. Higgins helps it on its way. Barry couldn't quite get an attack on the ball. Hooker did well, kept his feet firmly planted on the deck. Now they run away with it. Hardingham was upended, and as he hurt himself in disposing, he's down. Jetta, Watson, juggling, got the hands away to Monfries, needed to be clean. Just had the fumble there at the last moment, Monfries. But boy, they are under enormous pressure at the moment, the Dogs. Winderlick and Gian Siracusa battle.
And we've seen it again from Jetta there, running inside 50. But we'll look at this here.
Got upended, legs taken out from underneath him.
He's lucky his legs actually released from the ground, or he might have done an ACL, which was
and he
very lucky.
Released all of the air that he had in his lungs into the atmosphere and got winded as a result. Here's Liberatore around the corner. Grant fighting high, should almost get the free, and he will. That was a little clumsy there from...
Just got to find a little bit of momentum on the scoreboard before half-time, the Bulldogs. We know the talent they've got. We know that...
Grant to Murphy was a why question. I know Murphy had momentum, but gee, it was only a metre away and the defender was still there. He still presented a problem. Here's Paddy. Hoist the ball long. Watson's going to go over the top. Used the body well. Couldn't quite pull it in.
With the long ball in that time, though, he had Monfries on the lead. Bulldogs defender sifted off, thinking the ball was going to go long. Jared Grant there on the replay certainly didn't need to give that handball to Robert Murphy, who then had a poor kick turnover. But I think if the Bombers start to lower their eyes a little bit going inside 50, they'll start to take an advantage now, because the Bulldogs think they're going to go long all the time.
Cramery in the thick of it again. Quick handball out, Hocking, shot at goal. Misses. So with 5 minutes still remaining in the quarter, the Dogs have got to find some composure about them. Murphy.
There's the inside 50s, top left screen, 16 to 33.
Doubled them.
Whilst it doesn't tell the full picture, it's, I guess on this occasion, pretty reflective of what we're seeing out there.
Hardingham, you see on picture there, was, of course, used as a deep forward last year, playing slightly more up the ground this year. Played a lot of his VFL footy in the back line, and just needed to work on his tank, and looks like he's done that over the summer. Jetta.
Good work from Williams. Did it really well.
Yep.
Those inside 50s, David, they can be a little bit misleading at times, but you get them on the turnover, you are certainly opened up.
Always punished on the turnover, Terry. They're the dangerous ones, especially because of the space that they've availed themselves in behind in their forward 50. And put simply, at this stage, the Bombers, particularly their midfield, are just working harder than the Bulldogs.
Is that the key? I mean, quite clearly at the present time, Bombers are totally dominant, but we know that the Dogs have got the talent to come back. Where do they go to? Where do they start the process?
It just looks like they've lost their vision with the ball use at the moment. They're missing all their targets. They're just blasting it long. Just a bit of composure needs to come back into their game.
Looks like Howlett getting some strapping on the knee. Looks like he's going to have another crack at it, Kingy.
Yeah, he will. Still got Lovett Murray with the vest on down here as a substitute.
Okay, up they go. Hurley in front. And Ryder, Lonigan ran past the ball. Look at Cross's desperation. Trying to set the tone for his Dogs. Gets a pat on the head for his efforts.
Where does the spark come from, Jared?
Well, I think it's got to be just a contested ball, winning it from the clearances. We're not seeing any movement forward. There's 10, 15,000 Bulldog supporters to left of screen, and they're not getting... They've got to look up at the monitor.
Not getting any play at their end at all, Jared, as you've pointed out on numerous occasions, as Hooker does just that and sends it back into the Bomber forward end. Here's Watson. He was looking for running support out wide. Couldn't get it. Myers on his favoured side. Launches a high ball from 55 metres out. Here comes Ryder across the pack again. They are not scared to kick it long to a target in a wrestle.
Watson off with just under 4 minutes of play remaining. He's a spent force. You'd reckon you just keep him off now for the rest of the quarter so he gets an extended break with the half-time coming.
Don't reckon they will, though, Jared. Just get your minute. We checked the breaks yesterday for a guy like Dane Swan. 1.5 minutes was the maximum he spent on the bench. I think he had 4 of those, and they all ranged from a minute 10 to a minute and a half.
And that's all you need these days. With the way these guys train, it's based around total recovery. So they might do an effort for 5 or 6 minutes, have that minute off. They train that way, and you certainly won't see him on the bench for any longer than that.
There's Howard. He's just come back onto the ground with that left knee to give it a go. And he's won himself a free kick. Got short Jetta. He goes there. That won't be the required journey. Gee, the umpire paid the mark. Jetta now long. Now Ryder couldn't get a jump at it. It was planted on his head over the back. I don't think anyone's touched that, except for that man there right on the line. And that occasion looked like Eastonwood, was it? I think they've got a hand on it.
It was Easton, and this is where the Dogs are breaking down, as they have again. Essendon allowing them to get that first kick out of defence, and then they're just pressing up and not giving the Bulldogs an easy target.
They've got inside their head, haven't they? Their confidence is being sucked out of their system. We're seeing sloppy work this last 10 minutes. It was so sharp early.
And a mark is taken by Cramery here. Very much in a goal-kicking position, only 30 metres out. About a 50-degree angle. You can see the angle that he's going to confront there. He's been impressive. His physical approach to the game is great to watch. Cramery comes in on the left and just kicked it across the face. And Watson back on, so we have the clock on him, a minute 40 on the deck, so players are asked to run, and then get very little rest these days. Heppel, Hardingham. Once again, Jared, as you say, they lock it at their forward end.
Well, this has been the, I guess, exposing of the myth about pre-season form. This is exactly what the Bombers did in pre-season, and they're bringing it to round 1. Whether they can sustain it for the whole year is, I guess, going to be a factor of fatigue and injury.
And that just boils down to depth, whether the fatigue and injury, whether they've got players to replace.
But right now they are, I think that we saw during the week the stats, so the second best side are keeping it inside their forward 50 behind only Collingwood, and they have completely dominated this game today.
They certainly have, and I think over the NAB Cup period too, they don't play as long a game time, so whether that's going to have an effect as this game goes on, when it opens up just that little bit more. But the way they're going at the moment, they don't look like getting beaten.
Well, they've had the double whammy, haven't they? Because not only have they robbed the Bulldogs of getting the ball, the Bulldogs have just lost all confidence when they do get it.
Myers, a dashing run. Monfries tried to keep it alive in a battle with Josh Hill. And once again, they get another opportunity to compete within range of goal. Boundary throw in deep in the Bomber attack. A minute 27 remaining. Snap at goal there. And what do you make of this, David King, with the Bombers keeping so much ball at their forward end of the ground?
Well, I think they've got to make a change here, the Dogs. Adam Cooney's playing in the forward pocket at the moment. I think he needs to go to a half-back flank. They need to get some of their line breakers where the problem area is, and that's exiting their defence at the minute.
There's Higgins in that area that Kingy talks about. That's a high ball that's just going to be thumped to the boundary line.
It's a chicken and egg, Kingy. Is it more that they're not winning it at the stoppages through the middle of the ground, and therefore it's going in there?
Well, I think their biggest problem at the moment is the half-back flank. They haven't got anyone with any initiative there currently. As you said, those major components of their back line are out at the moment. They need to get someone with some talent and some class there.
Look at this, the hustle is impressive. Melcham, Stanton demanded the ball, didn't get it. Watson cleverly positions the ball for Hurley. I think it was going to get there anyway. Jetta couldn't quite get a boot on it. You can just hear the crowd join in the fun as the Bombers surge forward. They are loving every moment of this. Kick back into play. This time the Bombers, the Dogs will get it out. Higgins and now the strong running Griffin. Couple of bounces. Barry wanted it. He'd made the lead now, and Barry Hall stands there and argues, and he says to Griffin, I wanted it out in front. Now you're kicking it back to the goal square. Hill. Dempsey and Howlett looks to have recovered from that knee. Monfries tried to mark in front of Hill. Jakira. Dogs outnumbering at the contest for one of the rare occasions. Jones recovers. Centering, squaring ball is good. Couldn't quite make it. Siren sounds. Great quarter from the Bombers. They kick 6 goals to 1 for the Western Bulldogs, and it has brought the Bomber fans to their feet. Almost a standing ovation. In fact, as I look to the outer, they have rised up out of their seats and they've gone, Sir James, you are bringing the Bombers back. And look at the scoreboard at halftime. A 34-point Essendon lead. 9-12-66 to the Dogs. 5-2-32. Gerard and Brad Johnson on the other side of the break to take a close look at what we've just seen.
Don't laugh. No, there we go.
Don't laugh, Brad. We're serious.
I would replace Brennan Stack with Sherman. I think he'll be able to give a bit more run than what Brennan is at the moment.
There you go. Brad Johnson putting it all on the line. Here's a good start for the Dogs. Down towards Jakira. Off hands. Opportunity. Higgins sees the runner. Grant. A good start for the Dogs. Would have been good to get a great finish. Not so.
Probably could have nearly kicked the drop punt there, Jared Grant. He turned the ball, tried to kick it around the corner. Probably could have had a crack at the drop punt, might have got a better result.
That can be levelled at many modern footballers these days, Jono, even when they go along the ground. Higgins.
It's been a bad day, a bad weekend, in fact, for the grubber Boomerang.
Yeah, it has. Hasn't worked out for the modern player at all this weekend. Here go the Bombers once again. We know they love this. Listen to the crowd rise with the Bombers as they surge from the hill kick. Winderlich got his man under the ball. Can he get around a couple? Dishes it off. Zaharakis through traffic with his left. Needs a good bounce, won't get it.
Just went one too many. He had the opportunity. The opening was there. Wanted to get a little bit more comfortable, which was the gamble he took. On that occasion, it didn't pay off. Good defensive work by the Dogs to close him down.
Easton Wood to bang it back in. See how he's only giving himself 2 or 3 metres of that goal square.
And this is where they battled in the first half, so we'll see if they've changed anything up here.
High ball, Jakira over the top, couldn't get it. Watson again, shrugs the Jakira tackle, and you said his kicking's improved, and have a look at that too, Monfries waiting for a long option to get there. Here it is now with Ryder, and in front as well, an opportunity for Cramery. Winderlich shrugs the tackle, gets around one. Zaharakis, fast handball. Cramery now puts his head over it. They get another shot at it. Winderlich to Lonigan. Little outsider. Didn't work for him. Oh boy, Hill got under that. A little. He needs to be perfect with the foot. There's nothing deep for him here. They're all Bombers. They're lining up. Here's Myers. There was not one option deep and long. They'd all been attracted towards his defensive goal. Rodney Eade and Paul Williams look a little mystified. Ryder again to Watson. Another clearance from the stoppage for the Bombers. Zaharakis, Pickin, Jakira opens up for him. Kick needs to be good. It is. Hall presents up. Look at that. Jakira says, kick it out in front of me. Hardingham was there waiting for that though. So they go wide to Griffin. What's Griffin got? He has to wait for players to get forward of the ball. They surge down now. Grant offers something. A highish tackle, feeds the ball off to Pickin. Pickin tries to draw Higgins towards the ball, but look at the outnumbering. 4 on 2 it was there.
Really interesting the way they set up there, BT. They weren't actually going man-on-man in defence. They were still minding space.
Yeah, they were. And Hardingham's got quite a severe limp behind the play as well, but it's going to come back again. This time the kick, stolen by Dempsey. Run through the middle. Electric start. Winderlich's got open mouth in front of him. He goes to the extra handball to Monfries. Monfries is a clean, good finisher. Doesn't let him down. Fans ecstatic as Monfries salutes.
Super play by the Bombers. Super play by Dempsey off halfback, picking off Jan Syracuse's kick. Running through the middle of the ground, hits up Winderlich, who was able to then get a nice little handball over to Monfries, who finished with a nice goal.
Just great pressure through the middle of the ground, and Winderlick opened it up with a handball to space. And Monfrey's risking missing the goal by running it along the ground.
Why?
Well, because he grubbed it. And it could have bounced sideways rather than there's no bounces when they go through the air.
I know, and I'm mystified by that in a situation like that.
Crazy.
Back in the middle. Sock around by Hocking. Hurley. Last the tackle on Markovic. Cooney. They need his strength around the ball. High tackle on Hocking. Hocking. Opens up for Winderlick. Strong hands in front. Will he get the free? He got neither. And a boundary throw in. So the Bombers look like they're in the first half form they showed here today. They continue on and trap that ball at their forward end. Boyd and Monfries. So often the Bombers have been the first in and under at these contested situations.
David King on the boundary line. You've been assessing this first 5 minutes.
Just think they're too hall-centric forward of centre, the Bulldogs. They need someone with some real speed. Maybe put Grant back inside the forward 50.
Tap down by Ryder was impressive, but didn't end up with a great advantage out of it.
He's just too high, Brian. He's working his way around the wing lines and the wing area. Fletcher just rolls off whenever he feels the danger time coming. They need someone with some real speed back behind this defensive outfit of the Bombers.
Opportunity here now for the Dogs. Higgins. But it's a 3-on-1. Look at that. 3 Bombers, 1 being the Grant. Now it's a 4-on-2 with Hall.
Free kick. You've been told all through the pre-season to must make an attempt, and Jared Grant was ignoring that. The umpire, well, he had no option. He just had to ping him.
Fletcher, the recipient, as Leroy Jetta just slips in off the bench along the boundary lane and takes the mark. A lot of players just on the left of Leroy Jetta, so he goes to try and open it up a bit on that sort of fat open side, if you like. Watson now draws standing to the ball. I reckon that's nearly out of bounds on the full. And umpire kept his composure. Howlett presents, just picking them off at will at the moment, the Bombers. Hurley goes really wide, kicks too much on it. And probably a bad option, but he got a push there. So Hurley will get the free kick here. Was this out of bounds when Stanton took the mark when first laid hands on it? I reckon so.
BT, you mentioned that they're picking them off, and Hurley gets a free kick there. They're actually working for each other. They're working back into the space, blocking for each other, allowing that 15-metre lead to come towards the kicker.
Hurley from 55, got this one on target. I think it's drifting in. It is! Hurley from outside the arc.
Well, time now to bring Sherman on. I don't think Rocket's got much to lose. It's got to be done. They're out of this match at this stage, and they need to change something to give themselves just any chance whatsoever of getting back into it. Here's the shot from Hurley again from outside 50. It's a darn good kick. Straight over the top. And the Bombers' roll continues.
It certainly does. The ball is continually in the Essendon forward line, and the Bulldogs just seem to be trying to push as many numbers as they can back there, but they're not being able to win the footy and get run going out the other way. The pressure's high. They're bombing it long, usually to a 3-on-1, and back in it goes. So there's just tremendous pressure at the moment coming from Essendon all over the ground.
That was Sherman, the sub. He awaits direction to go as Hill gets another clearance. The Bombers have kicked 7 unanswered goals here. Murphy over the top. Clean at the ground level, has to fend off defenders and has to take that very risky kick to centre-half back, but it opens things up. Hudson to Pickin. Pickin draws Grant, but he didn't keep coming at the ball. Fletcher was able to close down as a good handball by Grant to Pickin, to Wood, onto the classy Higgins to finish. He needs to finish. He must finish. Hits the post.
Better build-up by the Dogs' end, but they just haven't been able to do that enough today on a consistent basis. Easton Wood, only for the second time today I've seen, was able to get forward of centre as a running half-back.
Here's Hardingham.
Interesting, the Bulldogs have got 5 blokes not involved in the zone.
Hocking, Hurley. Look at the numbers they get forward of the ball. Hocking could have given them on freeze, elected to take him on, and he got caught. Disgusted with himself.
You mentioned that, Jerry. The defenders are trying, I think, to work just a bit more man-on-man because they were getting hurt with the ball going over the back from a quick play from the Bombers.
Jones knocks it down to Higgins. Higgins to cross. Kick it around the corner. Dempsey really lined up the ball and attacked it strongly. Howlett got sandwiched there. In front on that occasion was Cramery, who landed on his backside rather awkwardly. Jakira.
Yeah, I think the only problem with that, Jono, is that the zone, I think, is very much an all-in or bust. You can't have 4 or 5. You can't have defenders being nervous that their man may get a goal. You're either all into it or you're not into it at all.
Tom Williams took it out of the ruck as Hudson took a spell on the bench, and there was no Bomber Ruckman there for one of the rare times. Hez Hall did well. Nice handball inside the hill. Fast hands Higgins, but here comes Fletcher. Higgins was able to keep his feet. Fletcher goes to the ground. Jones arrives. Needs to be tidy here. They scrap it out. Myers is unloaded. And a win for the Bombers defenders.
Dustin Fletcher, fantastic. Committed to the contest, took the legs out.
Ward keeps it alive. Handball straight to Melksham. Now this is going to be interesting. Can they find the open man? Here he is, Winderlick. Tries to keep it rolling forward. Did it well to Ryder. Ryder fronts the goal. And he's got Watson on if he wants. Didn't stick it out in front. Picker was able to close it down. It was kicked straight to him.
Well, I think to be fair to Paddy Ryder, Watson didn't really make a genuine lead. He moved about 4 or 5 metres. He didn't say kick it out in front of him. And it gave Picken enough opportunity to get across and spoil.
Williams. Boyd. He's going to come back, though, because here's Stanton. Run down on the tackle from Griffin. Callan finds space with Gian Syracuse, but look at this. He's got one player forward, and that's Hall. And Hall was real intelligent because he sucked towards the ball. He knew he would have been beaten if he'd gone long and deep. Now, can he kick the distance? Barry Hall directly in front. Dogs' last goal, 5-minute mark of the second quarter. The distance, a little concern. Gian Syracuse has marked it on the line, uncontested. How can that happen? Turns around, plays on, kicks the goal. What's going on? The defence has been so good all day. How can that happen?
First of James Hird pulling some of that hair out, I think. Jared, I just can't believe that Ruckman does not get back onto the line every single time, or even get someone else on the mark and get Dustin Fletcher back there. This should not happen.
Hardingham there just let him go.
I think he knew he made a...
I think he did there.
I think the runner needs to go out.
The thing with that movement from the Bulldogs was that they actually changed the angle. In the first quarter, they changed the angles a little bit more with their kicking, and that seemed to benefit them a little bit. This time around, Gian Syracuse was able to bring the ball back into the corridor through a smart lead through Barry Hall.
Oh boy, wowee. James Hird just sits back and contemplates, and everyone knows, and Hardingham certainly knows. A legging there.
I think he was thinking to himself, I knew there was something I had to discuss with Hardingham before the match. Now, that's what it was.
Absolutely. Heppel's kick's great. A really impressive kick from Heppel there to get it to Cramery. He's now got a bit of cramp. Been good, this guy, Brad Johnson, hasn't he?
He's been very good. He presents well and attacks the contest as hard as I've seen an Essendon forward do in a long time.
Talking about a guy that's just in his 4th game of footy. Tried to get Hurley to come towards the ball there. Winderlick's been good around goal. Kick into the front. Here's Lonigan. They swarm around him and dispossess. Jones. Not a great kick. Stanton within range here.
Every time the Bulldogs have tried a clear defensive 50, it's been 3-on-1 all day.
Brent Stanton kicked the 1 goal in the second quarter. 13 goals for the year last year. We'll have to kick this one about 50. Distance not a problem. It's all down to accuracy, and that's great as well. Stanton gets his second.
Well, it's been a really impressive performance by the Bombers to date. It's a long season. They're going to have their wins, they're going to have their losses, but they went in with a plan. The players committed to it, and they are seeing the rewards of that in round one.
You read James Hird this morning in the Herald Sun saying that it's been the hardest pre-season that the Essendon players have gone through in a long, long time. Tough 6 months of training and getting things right, and like you said, committing to a new game style. And it's showing out. It showed out in the pre-season, and it's showing out again today. And
what happens when you have two teams that like to have the ball in there, play the ball at their forward end of the ground? What determines the outcome in that situation?
That's why Ruckman become really important, and clearances become important, because it's the side that gets it in there. We saw the Bulldogs winning those clearances in the first quarter. Essendon unable to assert their dominance, but since they've won the clearances, they have just destroyed the Western Bulldogs.
Monfries to Melksham. A bounce, now a second. Griffin corrals, Melksham clever around the corner. Hurley put the hands in. Came out with nothing.
I mean, the grip on power is so fine at the present time that you go into a game minus 3 top liners, and it's almost impossible for it not to have an effect. Now, I don't think anybody expected the Bombers to expose it as badly as we've seen it today.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody expected the Bulldogs to actually drop their confidence levels so easily as well, which is something they'll address, I'm sure, through the week.
Beautiful kick by Wood to Gian Siracusa, and he draws Grant to the ball with a lovely place kick as well. Good movement from the Dogs there. Grant will line up for goal.
At the end of the day, whilst the margin is still gettable, right now at this point in time, it's 25 scoring shots to 9.
Yep, that's a comprehensive outplaying. Here's Grant. Inside 50 so far in this quarter, 8 apiece, 25 to 8 in favour of the Bombers in the second quarter. So the Dogs getting a bit better look here. Grant comes in and steers the ball straight through the middle. So there's some reward for the Dogs. Their second goal of the quarter here. And they now trail by 40 points.
Well, it's a high-intensity game plan that they've asked their players to play. So the Western Bulldogs, you would expect to find some holes as Essendon's fatigue starts to set in. As players look up at the scoreboard and say, oh, well, we're pretty comfortable. I won't work quite as hard, Jono, and therefore some opportunities you would expect would arise. It's a question of the Bulldogs. Can they extract enough from those opportunities to put some pressure on?
David King, the sub's been activated, has it?
Sub's been activated, boys. The Shermanator finds his way onto the wing, and unfortunately for Nathan Jakira, he is subbed out for the game.
Okay. So Jakira out. I thought he was pretty good, but it may be to do with his ability to run the game out. Back in the middle. Sherman, the sub for the Dogs, is on. Here's Howlett and Hill. Hill around the corner with a bending ball. Gives the Bombers some chance. Watson roves beautifully. Kicked across the face. Just out of bounds. Joe Watson disappointed there.
Just go back to this replay before you look here. Melksham going towards goal, and all the Essendon players are working for themselves. No one's going back to block to create an easy lead towards him. If they do that more on a consistent basis, it's going to make the kick inside 50 a lot easier for the Essendon players.
Great pick-up, Jono. Everyone batting for themselves on that occasion. And so you'd say that if you try and get someone else out of the loop, your turn will come eventually.
Especially with the player going back hard to the goal square. Block for that forward to allow him to release, and then you can release yourself out the other side. More often than not, the guy that blocks is the one who gets the footy.
Windlick's got a free kick here. And he's basically directly in front of goal. A little tiny bit of angle about it. Higgins going, well, what did we get that for? And here's why. And probably got to ask the question, do you? Looking at that. Windlick comes in. He's got the goal, so the Bombers respond and keep on track. Focus is good. 18 minutes gone. Bombers by 46.
Interesting role for Windlick today. He's generally been off half-back, midfield, running type. But today he's been more almost as a, not a key forward, but almost as a set forward inside the forward 50. He hasn't had a lot of it. Just 11 possessions. but in many ways it may well have been at times asked to lock down on Robert Murphy and play more of a defensive role and still have the capacity to kick a goal, which he's done.
The thing that I've liked about, he hasn't had much of the ball, like you said, but when he does get it, he gets it at pace. And that makes it very hard to defend against.
Good look down the ground. Here is Winderlich in the foreground with Robert Murphy, the men we speak of. Griffin's hands on the cross. Goes inside on the head of Hall and Hooker. Hall recovers. Soccer here. Gian Syracuse just got a socket off the ground. Was a touch. Tough one for the umpire to determine, but Dempsey did well. And the fans with their input. And here is the replay. I reckon he's kicked it after the touch. It's pretty hard to see. But I think he's touched the ball there, and then it's scooped over. Yep. Tough one to see in real life, I guess. There's Hudson. See any way forward, David King, for the Western Bulldogs here at the moment?
No, I don't. They're going to have to do a bit of this little chip around 60, 70 from goal, and maybe be a bit more methodical in the way they've gone in, Brian. Try and find a target instead of just blasting it in.
Stack does the blast in, and Higgins probably should have taken the mark in the end. They got to him rather late. Hooker involved in the early retrieval of the ball. Now Heppel and Jett are able to finish the good work.
Kingy, I want you to just have a look at the Western Bulldogs forward line, the lack of pressure there. Immediately there was a turnover there. They had 6 blokes with their hands on their hips all spectating. At the other end of the ground, Jono, we're seeing the Bombers, their pressure on the opposition is extreme.
It is extreme, and that's why they're able to create these opportunities. And it's just too easy at the moment, the way they're able to get these uncontested marks, especially through the centre part of the ground and going into about range between 50 and 70 metres out from goal.
McVeigh will fancy his chances from here. Will have to kick at the full 50, though. Hasn't kicked a goal today. Mark McVeigh for the 5th Bomber goal of the 3rd quarter. And that's offline. Even the role that he has to play this year, McVeigh, because everyone else is lifting, he doesn't have to play as a significant role, does he? As he's been asked in previous years. He
doesn't. He went on to Liberatore at that one stage in the 2nd quarter and was able to sort of quieten him down a little bit in his first game because he was getting out of control, young Liberatore. But this has been the battle all day for the Bulldogs. We said before the game one of the 3 keys was they have to be able to handle tempo footy because they are going to be slowed down a fair bit by the Bombers. But they haven't been able to do it as well as they would have liked.
Higgins to Wood. A little fumble from Wood, so Higgins gets in a position where he can receive the handball. Smart play. Tom Williams down the line. Good kick. Grant's got to go at it. Got to try and find some forward momentum when the ball's kicked at him, even if it's just 1 or 2 steps. If the ball is kicked at him, Hocking now to Watson. The Watson kick was intelligent because it drew Ryder to the ball and therefore him away from his opponent. Now Ryder goes deep to Hurley. Boundary throw in.
You're right, Brian and Jared. The Bulldog forward line simply doesn't work hard enough. Gene Syracuse, Grant, they don't provide an option for those players coming off half-back. It's Barry Hall or bust at the moment. It's just simply not good enough.
Hudson. Weston Wood now, he's got to make an attempt. He's in trouble here. Umpire said he has taken high in the attempts for the Bombers to win it.
King, it's Liam Jones for me as well. He just needs to find a way to get into the contest when things aren't going his way.
It is, but Gene Syracuse has got far more experience under his belt than Liam Jones, and Liam's just finding his way. He'll learn that, but I think if players are working hard around you, then it raises the bar, raises the standards. At the moment, they're all just coasting around, expecting the ball user to do all the work.
Cooney creates some space. Not a lot of leads coming at him, so he's forced to kick this long ball. And there is Liam Jones, the man we speak of. Jetta now, look at them run forward here. The Bombers, Fletcher still had the awareness to get rid of it. Gee, he's handballed that umpire. He couldn't make that decision from where he was, the umpire. Couldn't possibly see it. Boyd, Cooney, Very unfair decision. Hall in the lead, should have taken it in the jukes, tried to take it on the chest. Dogs have got some numbers back here. And they win it. Pickens' little kick. Liberatore. Lonigan. And a win for the Dogs. Cooney.
Pressure, though. Look at the pressure.
Yep. Now Zaharakis. He's only got the one option, and that's this man here, Crameri. Crameri's going to have to wait for some players to get forward of him. Now goes long and high on the top of Easton Wood. Windelick's there. Dogs everywhere. Boyd. Griffin with the run out of defence. Higgins works hard and takes the mark. Crameri in some trouble there. Just looks like a bit of cramp. Griffin. Over the top, Sherman. Back to Griffin. Hall's caught behind here. Hooker was in front trying to work the angles. Jones, some good evasive footsteps. Puts it to the open goal square. Missed.
Good sidestep, though. He showed plenty of talent in his brief career to date. Crameri's last kick was this one. And he...
Just cramp. He was cramping earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, cramping the calf there.
Do you reckon Hooker was expecting some sort of heat from Barry Hall in that last contest?
Bit of frustration he would have been thinking was coming at him. Myers here. So a 45-point Essendon lead, and we have just over 2 minutes remaining in this third quarter. And the Bomber faithful here today, keeping in mind it is a Essendon home game today. Both of these teams have home games at this stadium. Here's Melksham, put it into space, and Pickens the first to work back into that space. Will need the boundary line though. Found it. See all the players there around the stoppage. No one sagging off the stoppage at all. Although a Bulldog player now goes back towards the goal square. There's Hill. Watson. Morris. Now, was it deliberate? Big call for the umpire here. Players appealing left, right and centre, and they say yes, he had no other intention. Gone are the days where you can kick the ball out in front. Umpire said his only intention was to get the ball over the boundary line. Tough call, but they did say they were going to tighten up on it. Good mark taken. Great judgment by Stanton.
Well, the Bombers have just locked this ball in, and they are doing it magnificently well. Long bombs out are coming straight back over their head. The only way they can generally get it out here, the Bulldogs, is to concede a goal.
Love to see the time in forward line for the Bombers for the game in comparison to the Dogs. As Hill lines up from a sharpish angle, puts it to the top of the square. Windelick's at the back, got the crumb, went the handball to Monfries. He turns his player inside out, missed.
Hard to believe it was 72-28% of time in the second quarter, BT, when you consider the quality of Essendon's opposition, a side that many think are genuine contenders for the flag.
Yep. Wood from fullback. Murphy's got the aerial work to do. He flies brilliantly, couldn't quite take it though, and Fletcher just gets it out of the area to Myers. He can go over the top to Jetta. Jetta chose not to run. Look at Myers. Now gets onto his left, run down from behind. Good play by Markovic, the first gamer.
Good chase by Markovic. Didn't give up on the contest. Come off the bench, so he ran about 60 metres to try and create that tackle.
Ward going to work his way through. Watson's been superb. Heppel's been impressive in game one for him as well.
The Bombers might as well just line up with the logo, because that's exactly where it's coming back every time.
Siren sounds to end the quarter, and the Dogs say thank goodness. Tom Williams in some trouble there, but once again The red and black stand and applaud. Sir James it will be. Come the end of this game, you would think the Bombers lead by 46 points. Can the Dogs do anything about it? We're about to find out. You'd love to have the footy in your half of the ground for 70% of the game. Can't lose. Let's see what the Dogs can do. From 46, there's Liberatore. In his first game, had a blistering first quarter, did Tom Liberatore.
Good player, Melksham, BT.
Yeah.
Showed a lot of promise in his first year.
He's looked very composed here today, been impressive, as you say, and we believe the substitute, as you can see there, Lovett Murray has been activated for the Bombers. David King will find out, unless you already know, Kingy, who the Bomber player is that's come off.
Howlett, boys, at this stage he's off. He's been red-shirted.
Okay. There he is, the red-vested. Howlett. Hocking. Hurley in the contest. Oh, there's Melksham. Gee, that's a clash of heads, I reckon. I hope Melksham's all right out of this. Got a thick head if he is, and he has.
He trained with us a couple of years ago, part of the OIS scenario with the AFL, and we were impressed with him then, super impressed. I was actually asking Rodney Eade, how can we draft this kid? So, just an outstanding talent.
Yeah, good. He's had some great coaching at the Calder Cannons along the way, and as you say, at the very elite level, top end as well, Brad. Stack to Williams, turns around and monsters the ball back to Grant. There's Cooney, kept the hands free. Great lesson for youngsters watching, even though the tackle was applied, still able to dispose of the ball. Lonigan to Hardingham, to Stanton. Now with Clearfield, they all tell him to just run. And this man here, Zaharakis, lines up on the fat side. Chisels from 40. That typifies the Bombers like no other. Brilliant running, linking play from a young Bomber outfit.
Great play, and Kingy brought it up at three-quarter time in his review of that quarter, how the Bombers were able to spread from the contest with the Bulldog forwards still surrounding the contest. It was no different then with the Bulldog forward and midfielders still caught at the contest. Essendon be able to spread from that, got through quite easily, and were able to finish with an easy goal.
Zaharakis kicks his second.
Well, every Bomber fan out there here and player would be absolutely excited except one, and that would be Howlett, who's on the boundary line. Ben Howlett is being red-shirted just at the time when it looks as if it's going to be an avalanche. I reckon David King would be extremely shirty if he got red-shirted in the same circumstances.
It's time for sweets, Jerry.
There's sweets. There's a bit of cream to be had here.
Absolutely. Cooney, brilliant tackle, Dempsey. There's Lovett Murray. Hill, who's been impressive today. David Hill. Paddy Ryder's been great.
Yeah, fact.
Here is Ryder. Lovett Murray wants it. He says, come on, I can run forward of you. Give it to me. And he does. Now Lovett Murray. A little sloppy. Presenting at the ball was Winderlick. That was his aim. But Murphy to cross.
Have you seen the use of Winderlick, Jono? It's an unusual one that's worked.
It is one that's worked normally, and I think he's got flexibility in his game because you can throw him to half-back if things aren't going well to try and create a bit more run through the midfield. But I like the way that he's really worked. He's worked extremely hard across half-forward today and presented, taken a good couple of strong grabs, kicked a couple of goals. He's done quite a good job.
Is it about just getting pace, genuine pace in that forward line to make sure
create
that
pressure?
Pressure?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Jetta. Just a little kick in the middle. Look at it open up now. Gee, if you've got vision and you can find that sort of kick to Dempsey, doesn't it help? McVeigh goes wide. An opportunity for Stanton. Was originally going to do it. Winderlick looks around. You know what? They're just trying to find the guy in the better position all the time, and McVeigh is it on this occasion. And that's impressive when they're not trying to do it themselves.
But Rocket will want to know, how can you have so much space? I mean, if you've got a zone, you've got to have a fair income zone. You can't have a massive hole in the middle of it.
Got to be committed to it, don't you? Everyone.
I mean, zones work if everybody works hard. If you just stand, they get exposed.
McVeigh doesn't let them down, gets his first. And the Bombers lead widens at the 4-minute mark of the final quarter to 58 points.
Jared, just from down here, Jared, it just looks like the Bulldogs are prepared to work at 100% when they're in possession and about 50% when they're not, particularly their half-forward line or that midfield section. They just don't value the game when they're not in possession as much as what the Bombers have today.
Well, David King, I'll ask you, is that ingrained in them as footballers, or can that be changed?
Well, I'll tell you what, if it's not changed, 2011 will be a waste of time, because that's the new black in the competition. If you can't harass and put pressure on in the midfield or the forward line, you can't consistently win games, and certainly the big games at the pointy end of the year.
David King on Fox Sports, along with Brad Johnson and Gerard Healy today with their comments. Here's Sherman being hassled by a desperate Melksham. Like this young man's game today, Heppel been impressive, and Monfries. He's just such an adaptable player. Stanton. His role not all that dissimilar to Winderlich, is it almost as a sort of a permanent sort of forward plant.
I think he's going to be a swing man in some ways. He played in the NAB Cup, bit off half-back, bit through middle. Particularly on this ground, though, if they're going to play Watson forward, I think the counterbalance is they have to have quickest players around him when he goes down there.
How many times has Dempsey been that man in the middle with that space in the zone that you speak of, Gerard? Gee. He'd be enjoying the day.
So, Jono, I think a lot of sides can get caught out in round one. You just come in psychologically, you're not ready, you just sort of forget how tough the year is, and you come up against a group like Essendon who have been completely primed. Bombers were basically preparing for pre-season when the Dogs are playing prelim finals. But something has to change in a hurry.
Oh, the Dogs will be extremely disappointed. Last year, when winning the NAB Cup, we were sort of talking about didn't have that real big build-up into round one, because you get caught up in playing in, a pre-season grand final. Out in the first round this year, they would have been using that and saying, well, no, let's really build to round one. Now, they would have been looking at Essendon for the last probably month of the pre-season, as well as focusing on doing a few other different things. So they'd be disappointed with what display has been shown today.
Dogs turn it over again by foot. Zarakis Hill just got it off the kneecap. And that's good enough these days. If you dispose of the ball in any form, it's regarded as a legal disposal. There's Hudson to Picken. Hammered in the tackle by big David Hill. And he's won himself a free as a result. Aren't they enjoying it, the fans?
I don't know how Picken was supposed to get rid of that ball.
He didn't have a lot of fire opportunity, did he?
No, he did. But a super tackle from Hill.
Ball's down then to whether you're making an attempt. And that must have been the decision.
You've got a bloke 6'10" line on top of you. It's pretty hard to get rid of it.
Ward. Murphy wants it wide, and that's where it's coming. Plays on immediately. Watson enabled him to do that. Kick to G and Syracuse, competitive in the air. Recovery now, 2-on-1. There it is again. Dempsey the loose. Stanton. 14 disposals for Courtney Dempsey today. 17 handball receives. In the link man, here's Griffin around the corner. Presents a nice ball to Grant, who can also draw Jones to the ball. Jones takes the mark uncontested. Hall wants it, but Jones wasn't balanced when Hall started his lead. Timing there has got to be better. He was still going in his backward motion when the fruit of... it was good patience in the end, wasn't it, to wait for this man, Josh Hill.
We just love to see a big bloke who's got foot skills like that.
What's your expectation of Josh Hill this year, Jono?
Yeah, look, it's a big year for Josh. Obviously, he was looking to get traded at the end of last season, and came back over the pre-season. Probably his skin folds are a little bit higher than what the club would have liked, but worked his way into the pre-season, got himself into some pretty good form over the NAB Cup, NAB Challenge period, and certainly deserved his chance to play today. Look, he started the game quite well, floating across half-back, and as most of the Dogs players have sort of faded a little bit as the game has gone on.
Hill converts the goal there. And the Dogs are back within 52 points. There's the kick Jared spoke of, Jones's kick, magnificent.
Seems like a lot of blokes working their way into the pre-season, Jono. Well, it's a work in progress at the moment.
Working their way into the season now, Jared.
They'll be looking to respond next week. I'm sure they will, because they have been ambushed here.
You expect him to be played. We saw him played as a sweeper in defence in the first quarter. Is he going to be a bit of a swing man, or is he going to be a back or a forward?
No, he'll have to be a bit of a swing man, especially you know, if some injuries do occur, especially down back. He'll have to do that. But he's more of a natural forward.
Yep. Picken, who's definitely a defensive type player.
Everybody was speaking about the tough first 5 weeks for the Bombers. Well, right now, given the form, they'll go in favourites against almost anyone.
They will indeed, because
got the Swans next week in Sydney. It'll be a tough game all round.
It will indeed for the Bombers, and then they play St Kilda here, then Carlton, then Collingwood.
And the Western Bulldogs, well, they've got a game that they would absolutely have penciled in as a win against the Brisbane Lions, and given the injuries to Jonathan Brown and Staker.
And then they play Gold Coast, Jared, and then they have the bye, so a chance to get some work done for the Dogs.
Lots of work needs to be done. In fact, they won't really be able to redeem themselves, BT, until they play an opposition they're expected to face in September, if they get there.
Which doesn't come until round 6 when they play Collingwood. There's Melksham. Humphreys presents. Should have gone there. For some reason, he didn't take that kick, and now Watson.
Confidence is a massive thing in footy these days, and you look at Essendon, they're playing with that sort of confidence at the moment. Yeah, the Dogs will go home with their tails between their legs today, but in saying that, they've got a good couple of weeks to really build some confidence with each other in the way they want to play against some sides that they should beat.
Colin Ward. Liberatore, the run of Murphy, has tried to generate the run, in fairness to him, like he did there, Robert Murphy. Trying to get something to go, trying to show other people around him to run forward. He has deliberately done that on a number of occasions today, just trying to encourage others. But it's been hard for the rest. Ryder, a little tap down to Lonigan, ricochet ball. They're behind high 42s, we believe, here today. Just 42,000 odd here today, which is a fantastic round run crowd at this stadium. Bombers home game. They're jumping back on board, the Bomber fans. Got the incredible coaching staff that they've assembled, the $5 million box. I don't know, Jared, how much it's worth, but it's impressive anyway.
Well, I think last count was 2.5 million, but add inflation, GST and carbon tax, and I think we can get it right up there.
Oh boy. Here's Jones.
It's going to be a short-term career though for James Hird. Given the current rate of improvement, he'll be aiming at Canberra very shortly.
Here's Higgins. He hasn't failed at much in his career, has he? Hill over the top with the one-hander. He's plucked it in with the one juke, and the umpire said, get on with it. We're disappointed with that, Josh. There's Lovett Murray, who was the sub for those that have just joined us. He came on in that third quarter and replaced the injured Howlett, who has a bit of a knee issue, but not a major one. Heppel, the other sub, by the way, has been activated as well. Sherman's come onto the ground for the Western Bulldogs at the expense of Jakira. There's Leroy Jetta, and an excitement machine today. He's going to go long to the square to Hill. We're great. This is back in the game. The big boys have been enjoying it off hands. It's surprise opportunities like that. When you kick it long and high, we've been screaming for it for the last decade, and it's back. We're loving it, Jono.
We certainly are. Monfils, great hands off the pack then. Clean. And nearly scored. Well, he did score, nearly scored a goal.
Cross high. Picken 1 on 3 there. Fletcher at the feet of Dempsey. Cooney comes to Sherman, the sub that's been activated. Around the corner with a miss.
Got an issue at the other end of the ground, though, Jono.
Yeah, Easton Wood coming off the ground. Obviously must have happened in that marking contest. Here we go now, having a bit of a look.
Maybe a hyperextension of his left knee. This is a...
and he's in a lot of pain, Easton.
Bit of a concern.
And a foot over the line has meant that this will be a ball up on the edge of the square. And the kicker is Easton Wood, in the very capable of hands of Doc Landsberger there and Gary Zimmerman and the boys. One of the best medical staff that is around in football. Those two, Zimmerman and Landsberger. Rather unique moustache has Zimmerman. Fletcher, been a club doctor, I think, for about 30 years. Not a bad service.
Well, Jake Landsberger was a club doctor at Melbourne in the 80s, so he's been around a long time.
He's got him covered then.
He has. If there was Jake in the left corner and Zimmer in the right, Jono, and you were walking down the line, do you go left or right?
Depends what's wrong with you.
So you go to Jake for coughs and colds, and you go to Zimmer for muscle injuries.
That's right.
That's exactly it. And other things. Here is Paddy Ryder. Halfback, a high ball. Cramery over the top, early.
Here's that space you were talking about, Kingy.
Advantage paid. David King enjoying it. Winderlick. Hill. Just messing around with it a little.
But it was a bit slow to pick up on that one, Kingy. Just early BT. You gave him 2 goes.
Yeah.
They handballed it to Hill. It ruined the whole thing. I was just going to let it unfold, Jared. But I think that's the beauty of this setup. If you can get it to a player with pace, you generally score. David Hill had to get out of the way then. He's getting a little bit selfish. He's had a great day.
So who are the 4 players, Kingy, that you're looking to get it to with that pace here, say, for the Bombers? Give us a couple.
Oh, certainly Jetta, Melksham. I think Zaharakis is quick enough. And, of course, they've got Ryder, who's also very quick when he wants to be.
There's Hooker.
What it has done today, though, Kingy, is if you've got 2 ruckmen, it has just destroyed the myth that the substitute was going to kill ruckman.
Yeah, exactly right. We're pretty happy down here, boys. I tell you, Baz is about to go off. But I think if you've got 2 quality ruckmen that can play in another position like Ryder and Hill can at full forward, that's an absolute luxury.
So the issue, Jono, is can Big Will Minson take that role, or has Tom Williams taken his position?
I think Will can, but I think they'd be really keen to get Jordan Roughhead out there as quick as possible.
Surely that second ruckman, Brad, has to be able to play forward. That is the...
Or both ruckmen.
Has to.
Well, they have to be. If you can't play forward as a ruckman, then probably you are in some trouble.
I think if Ace Cordy finds a bit of form as well, he's one that they may push in to try and do a little bit of that as well.
Can Jones play in the ruck?
Oh, look, he's got a good leap. I don't know whether he's got the work rate around the ground just as yet, or that endurance to be able to compete in the ruck and push forward at the same time.
Myers, tumbling ball towards Hill. Williams helped it through. Is it kicked? It may well have been kicked by Hill. It has been. The Bombers get another in front of 42,617. Wasn't a bad guess at the crowd, was it? And they lead it by 56.
8-8 to 16-16. I reckon been more than doubly good.
Great block by Hill on the line there. Myers dribbled it through. Hill, some good body presence.
Myers doing well there. Dale Morris and Dustin Fletcher, the only 2 players to have played the entire game here today. So the deep defenders for the respective sides.
Do you reckon Dustin Fletcher has got the ability to play every game this year, or they play him about 18 to 20 times, Jared?
Whatever Dustin wants, Dustin gets at Bomberland. He's been there longer than Hurdy. He'll be telling James what to do.
Surely they do a Buckley, Nathan Buckley type thing, don't they? And they say that at that age, you're capable for 18 really top-class games.
Yeah, but he played in the pre-season games. He didn't have to. He just loves playing footy.
Yeah, he does.
He's in a role probably where he conserves more energy than most.
Thus, he hasn't been off the ground today. There's Hardingham, McVeigh, and now Watson. Hurley, another link in that chain.
In the air to Hill.
Does just that, Gerard. Cross gets back for the third man. Hill does a hang. He took a beauty earlier today. Tried to replicate it there. Sam Lonigan been pretty good today as well. So the Dogs' next two games, Brisbane and Gold Coast, both at this stadium. And for the Bombers, Sydney at ANZ and St Kilda here at Etihad. Liberatore, a famous name at Dogland. Ward, through traffic here as the Dogs mess it up on the half-forward line. There's the man we speak of, Dustin Fletcher. Incredible career that he has had, 329 games. Just a legend for the Bombers. On freeze. Hudson flies over the top. Now Hurley. Pickin, tough nut. And the man, in case you're wondering, without the jumper, is Cranmery. And look at him, going on with it. He's got the tough nut Pickin underneath. Cranmery and Pickin going at it on the boundary. Last two to get up. Pickin turns around and says something to Cranmery. Oh, you gotta like that. They've turned back the clock here today. Long bombs forward and a bit of a scrap, as well as Cranmery changes jumpers.
BT, let me put a Essendon scarf on for a minute.
Yep.
Just imagine if they happen to get across the line and beat Sydney. They took care of St Kilda. And then they beat Carlton in round 4.
So 4 wins in a row, yep.
Can you imagine what sort of build-up there would be to the Essendon-Collingwood Anzac game?
Anzac Day game. Boy.
Massive.
I think it's going to be massive anyway.
Yep.
I've got a funny feeling Essendon may take care of a couple of teams along the way.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a very big game early in the piece.
Oh, incredible. The atmosphere at Anzac Day, already fantastic as we take another look at this, as Pickin was there and Cranmery, and then Cranmery gives him one and it's on under there, and players covering them up to let them do their best work.
Big reception there, boys. Dustin Fletcher makes his way for a well-earned rest.
Yes, he's first time he's been off the ground today. The 22-minute and 3/4 mark of this final quarter. Here's Josh Hill. 4-bounce run on the wing, and now a beautiful little kick to the presenting Grant. Jared Grant started magnificently this game. The 29 goals last year, and certainly he's going to need to find plenty of those this year.
Just watch young Tom Liberatore come off the ground. He is absolutely spent.
Grant with just under 3 minutes remaining. Kick is offline. By the way, both captains today lead their teams for possession. Boyd with 24 and Watson with 32. Both on the bench as we speak.
Yeah, it's been a round 1. Fortunately, it is round 1 for the Bulldogs, because it was somewhere deeper in the season. You'd be just asking yourself, what's going on? The work rate for the Western Bulldogs has been, for a side most independents think would be aiming up at prelim final or better, it's been as disappointing as we've seen for a long time.
But that's their strength, is work rate. And as we said before the game, when they get slowed down a little bit, they find it harder to break through and generate the run that they like to get to create scores.
I'm going to ask you both after this kick from Higgins whether it's a mental thing or whether it's a tactical thing that needs to be changed, and if so, how quickly can they do that? As Higgins comes in from a rather tough angle, always slides left to right from that pocket, as that one does.
I think you can argue the tactics because the zone isn't pushed up as high, but I think before you did that, you'd have to wait until the 3 guns out of the back line come back, because...
So Lake, Gilby and Hargrave.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you've got 3 more inexperienced players and some very inexperienced players down there, it was always potentially going to be bombed in there if the midfield got towed up. I don't think anybody expected the midfield, with all Australians in there, to get as belted as they have today. I mean, you can look at the numbers, and everyone will have plenty of numbers, but collectively they haven't had anywhere near the influence. And the forward line, Jono, if that doesn't improve, the Dogs can't win a flag, as in pressure.
Well, it has to improve and that's something that has been a huge work in progress over the last couple of years. Consistently, probably not at a level that, you know, even when I was still wearing the colours, wasn't at a level consistently enough that that would allow us to win more games against the better teams in the competition. So it's something that they'll continue to work on. Look, I think the confidence is a huge part in it, and that'll evolve over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Here's Myers. So the Bombers are going to record their first victory of the year here. And what a fantastic effort has been for the Bombers. Runners up in the NAB Cup. A win here today in round 1. Fans are happy. Got the new coach. And this sort of dashing play has been the flavour of the day, which the fans have thoroughly enjoyed today. Hill tidies up a 54-point lead for the Bombers. As we speak, a collision. Oh, and Dog player looks rather uncomfortable, and Griffin as Watson pings away.
Well, they could hardly get those tree trunks to run a straight line there, Joe Watson, but a terrific match from the captain. And there's the coaches.
The Royal Box.
Leading the charge.
They all get up and go. They've seen enough. 10 seconds remain in the game. And that man there, Paddy Ryder, has just been incredibly impressive today. Siren sounds. Bombers win. 55 points in front of a 42,500 crowd today. Absolutely superb. The Dogs, boy, do they have a way to go. As Rodney Eade and his staff lead the box. Tim Watson, the leading possession getter on the ground, and for the Bombers, a skipper. Joe Watson, I'm sorry, calling him Tim. He's been that impressive. He's played like an all-time superstar. Dustin Fletcher just keeps on going. 329 games. Let's go down to David King.
Well, here we are, boys, just walking down with James Hird as he makes his way through the crowds. It's a great reception, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Kenny. The boys are terrific today, and yeah, it's just a very good game.
Did you see that coming? Did you think they had this in them today? The first game, not sure. Had a great pre-season. Weren't sure how they were going to go in the real deal.
Yeah, look, I don't think anyone knows how you're going to go round 1. You don't know how the other sides are prepared, but we were confident we prepared well, but whether we're going to be good enough against a team like the Western Bulldogs was anyone's guess. So today was really pleasing.
What pleased you the most? Was it the ability to clear the ball, keep the ball in the forward line, just your even spread of contributors? What was the most that you'll take from the game, the most pleasing thing?
Winking, I think that's the most pleasing. But I think the first half of that first quarter, we were quite poor in our clearances, our centre bounce work, and the way they came back and got our clearances back on level terms in that first half was terrific.
We've made a lot of the coach's box, mate, but your leaders out on field were outstanding again today. Joe Watson, Fletcher rallied the troops down there. You were well led on field.
Yeah, we've got some terrific leaders, and they copped a bit in the press last year, but I think our senior players led from the front today, and that was terrific.
Congratulations, mate. 100%, 1 from 1. Good luck.
Can they keep it going would be the only question he has to ask himself. And Brad Johnson, what do you reckon?
Well, for one, I love Kingy's work getting up in the grandstand to take the
impressive.
Take some comments from the victorious coach. I'm sure the players will be a bit disappointed that Kingy didn't get out there and have a chat to them.
You wonder who's playing this game, don't you? Such a big build-up for James Hird, such a big name at Bomberland.
Well, I think we've seen sides improve exponentially when they go to this forward press if they're prepared to commit to it. Fremantle last year, they went from easy beats to a 4, so finished in the top 4. The Bombers have alerted the whole football world that they're here and they're fair dinkum and they're going to play a high press, high intensity game. And a lot of people were prepared to dismiss it as pre-season form. Well, it's not pre-season form. This is a group of blokes who are prepared to make a statement, and right now they look as if they're going to.
Let's go back to David King. Has David Hill with him.
Well, we've come down to one of the players, Brian, as you've requested. David Hill, fantastic performance. Well done.
Yeah, look, it was a good start to the year, and you know, the guys really, I mean, we managed to really pin them back there, so it was enjoyable.
Looked confident, looked like you were competitive as an outfit, and your ball use today was outstanding.
Yeah, at times it probably early particularly, you know, lacked a little bit, but we managed to keep the pressure on, and as you say, once we cracked them, then it was good. Yeah.
What's the one thing you'd say that James Hurd's instilled in this group, or brought to this group, that we can see from the stands?
Well, hopefully the football speaks for itself. You know, we're trying to play a more competitive style, and I think we proved that today.
Well led, your captain was fantastic. The forward line seemed to function well. Very selfless outfit at the moment.
Well, that's what we aim for. I think that's what a lot of teams aim for, and hopefully that's what we saw today. Yeah.
Go and enjoy the crowd, mate. They're going crazy down here. Well done.
Beautifully done down there, David King with David Hill. And a very impressive Bomber outfit today, winning by 55 points. On the other side of the break, Brad Johnson and Jared Healy are going to take a close look at this game and show you some of the great highlights as well. Very, very impressive as a group. Joe Watson gets them together before they go in. And today, an outstanding victory. 16-17, 113 to the Western Bulldogs, 8-10-58.